the jury was out on Mike Norvell entering the season, not just for you, but for anyone who observed the football program. I was somewhere in the middle in regards to, okay, I believed that this team was making progress. I saw development out of players. I just saw an improved product, but I didn't see the results, of course, and we were waiting for those. We knew that the schedule was the most difficult in the ACC, and we all had, I think between the three of us, we were pretty much in the same range in regards to what we expected, but also what was probably going to have to happen for him to retain his job. So has he sold you?
So I am very happy with what has happened through the first 10 games of the season. Yes, and I have complimented him here on the show. I will compliment now. I think Mike Norvell has done a very good job of turning this team around from what we saw his first season and his second season to what we are seeing right now. My beef was not so much with Mike Norvell. My beef was, if you're going to fire a coach for going 9-12 and saying that's not the standard, you can't say 8-13 is all of a sudden the standard, or 8-13 is acceptable when 9-12 isn't. That was my beef was with Mike Norvell. With that being said, I do like what we're seeing this season. I like the fact that we are 7-3. Like we joked at the start of the show, Florida State has been 7-3 at this point since the 2016 season. And you could argue that Florida State was a play or two from winning 2 of those 3 losses. It was 1 play away from beating NC State, and maybe a play or 2 from beating Clemson. Because I think Clemson, that game, we gave them that game with a turnover deep in our red zone and whatnot. So I like that. What I want to see is the completion, because a lot of what I'm seeing here, and Logan, you can touch on this one a little bit. I'm seeing a lot of similarities to the 2016 season, where we had the 3 losses, we had the 5 wins to end the regular season, and then all of a sudden we go to the Orange Bowl, we do big things, and all of a sudden you got that momentum heading into the 2017 season, and we didn't really build off of it from that point. But I'm seeing a lot of the same pattern here as we enter this final month of the season. So I guess my question to you, do you see any similarities to that, or is this a different team you're seeing at this point? I'm not saying it's the same. I'm not comparing Trey Benson to Dalvin Cook, because Dalvin Cook's one of the best to ever do it for Florida State.
While Logan is the guy to comment on this and give the in-depth knowledge, let me give you from a further take. I just have to think that there is a much different situation now versus you were looking at, for as much success as Jimbo Fisher had, we all now know all the internal issues that were going on and the bad blood and the things that he wasn't getting that he wanted. And it was just a bad situation, bad relationships, bad vibe. And he was, thinking about other places and other jobs, and versus a guy that's just basically at the beginning of his big time portion of his career. And I just think these are completely different settings.
No, mine is more saying from the fact that in that 2016 season, after that loss to Clemson, you're 5-3. You're wondering, okay, we got to get that win to be bowl eligible, and then we come out in the month of November, blow out Boston College, blow out Syracuse, blow out Florida, and come down here to the Orange Bowl and beat up Michigan. Now we're at that point now where you're 4-3 after the Clemson game. Yes, 3 straight losses to ranked teams, but you said it at the start of the show. We beat our last 3 teams 124-22. We've got a Louisiana team that we should, on paper, blow out, and a Florida team we're already a touchdown favorite over. So it's setting up in the same momentum, I guess. But, Logan, what would you say, and if not the 2016 team, what team would you compare this to in Florida State?
2012. I'm just kidding. No,
not
there. Not there yet.
No.
Not there yet. Not there. No. But I'd probably, the 2017 one was going into the 2016 and going into the off season. Jimbo's getting hit up for that job. Players sense that. Well, no, it starts with coaches. The assistants sense that. They hear things, and then it trickles down to players, and then that creates a lot of, well, why am I out here playing if this guy's just going to dip out and leave for me with all this money? So that was already just a bad, that was just, adding to be just a bad, horrific season, which it ended up being. And then you also lose your starting quarterback in the first game to Alabama for the rest of the season. And you're running out there with James Blackman, who had, just came out of high school and was expected to play. Just what a nightmare of a time there. I don't think FSU fans want to go back to it, but This going into next season, and we've been talking about it all throughout practice this week because it's getting to be that time where we start figuring out who's leaving, who's transferring. And the biggest question is, what does Jordan Travis do this upcoming offseason? Is this time for him to move on? There was some talk over the offseason that, this is a lot of college. You think about it. He is a transfer. He came from Louisville. We kind of forget that at times, but he's been in college for quite a long while now. Is he itching to get out of here and maybe get a chance across the pros? I personally think another year for Jordan Travis would be great, and also sets up Florida State to have a big time run in 2023 to where you have a chance at fighting for that ACC. Because if you think about it, ACC divisions will go bye-bye and we'll get to your two best teams. Florida State has a really nice chance of running, and looking at the schedule next year, there's a good chance that Florida State could fight for an ACC championship next year against whoever it could be. Could be North Carolina, could be Clemson, yada, yada, yada. But it's a weird year. I don't know where you put it. I'd probably put it, 2011-ish, 2010, maybe 2011. It really depends on what class Mike Norvell is able to take advantage of here. Things go sideways, though, if Jordan Travis doesn't come back, in my opinion, because I don't think there's a quarterback in Florida State's room to be a starter going throughout next season right now. And I don't know if you go to the transfer portal. I think you have to. You're not going to be able to bring in a true freshman to do this. You also already don't have one on deck right now to do so. But we've got a big. This is the part of having a good football team. Jason and Mark, we'll have a very, like, right after the season's over, we've got some big time discussions to have on where this team is going, and it has to do with a lot of guys having to stay. And what Mike Norvell is able to preach and hold some of these guys. We'll see what ends up happening.